And welcome back to the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast, our wrap-up segment here on GJRB Online before we close out for today. And on this last part, we're just going to wrap up our program by talking about how we're going to do our program schedule as far as how it's going to all work out. So here it is, and this is how it's going to go. Now, the music shows and the talk shows are going to be split, okay? So what I'm planning on doing here, especially when we get to the main, where we go up to 3 hours, it's going to be where, based on how radio was when I was growing up in Pittsburgh, KDKA, one of the stations, KDKA AM 1020, always had music in the afternoon, music during the day, and it had talk at night. And then on the weekends, I think they would do some music at night. Most of the radio stations used to do that. Now, I'm going to kind of rotate it a little bit here, where there'll be some days where we'll do talk all day, and then some days we'll do music all day. But some of the music, depending on what genre we're doing on a certain day, is where we're going to start off with. Now, starting off with, of course, Christian rock at the top of the list. We're going to have positive rock shows be part of that. We're going to do the Positive Rock Emerging Sunday or Monday. That'll be the Sunday broadcast, where we play Christian rock. Again, that will follow right after our church services. Either be in the afternoon or evening, depending on how I feel in a situation like that. Because coming out of church sometimes, I'm like really tired on Sunday afternoons, and usually I like to take my Sunday afternoon nap. I'm tired. But I'm going to try to get afternoon programming in on Sunday, not always. So watch for postings on the GJRB Spreaker public site for that. We'll probably be doing Christian rock all day, though. But with the evening programming, basically on Sunday night, would be either 8 or 9 o'clock to 11 p.m. with the Positive Rock Show. That'll start at 8. I'm going to try for 8 o'clock p.m. on Sunday nights, 8 to 11, playing the Positive Rock Show Emerging Sunday. If we don't do it on Sunday night, we will do our regular show on that Monday afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. Okay, or it could end up with do both. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be spontaneous now. So that's how that's going to work. Twin Spin Tuesday, always on Tuesday. That's going to alternate with our Gary J in the Morning Show. Okay, one Tuesday will be every other Tuesday. So every other week will be Gary J in the morning. Every other week will be the Positive Rock Show Twin Spin Tuesday. Okay, now we might even incorporate that as a morning program where we'll have the Christian rock on. That will be the Positive Rock Twin Spin Tuesday. It will be a combination of that and Gary J in the morning. So it'll be Gary J in the morning, but it'll just be playing Christian rock. Okay, Twin Spin Tuesday. It'll just be doing Christian rock. And we would do that and would have it running all day. Then going into the MOR, middle of the road format, will follow. We'll have rotated programming there too. And I think it will be where the beginning of the week, from Sunday into the beginning of the week, could be Christian rock one week, and then Sunday, and then Sunday only or Monday only, depending on how that goes, will be our middle of the road format. And then that will be the Gary J in the Morning Show that week. So we're going to kind of alternate with that, okay, as far as that's concerned, okay. Now, as we go into Gary J in the afternoon that same week, we'll have Gary J in the afternoon. Now, like I said earlier, might be some Tuesdays where I might try doing two shows. Gary J in the morning, and then take a break, automated music, and then come back at 3 for Gary J in the afternoon. I might try that. Possibility. That would be where we would have Gary J in the morning, go to GJRB music, keep the music rotation going. I'll use virtual DJ for that. And have all my automated music all set up in rotation so that we can just keep on going. And then later on in the afternoon, I come back about 3 and do Gary J in the afternoon and keep the rotation going. Try to get all those new artists playing. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I plan on doing. Now, GJRB music's a filler, so that would just be thrown in between as a mix of programs. The Gary J in the Morning Show would just be a filler between programs. So once the program's over for Gary J in the morning, I'll take a break, have lunch, do whatever I need to do, come back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and do Gary J in the afternoon. And that would be on our local end. And once our local end, Gary J in the afternoon would be on live here in Spreaker on my local end. And then at the end of that show on my local end, I carry whatever Debbie Scott Network and all that, the programs I have on Tuesdays, including Caramel Conservative at night. So that's how that would go. I have a different program schedule each day on all my low-powered FM signals until it forms a pattern. When it starts forming a pattern of programming, it'll start forming into a schedule that I like. Then we'll make it permanent for the fall. Okay, and then I'll come up with something else, So that's how that's going to go. Now, the jazz, again, will remain on the weekend. And like I said, we're going to go back this month, again, repeating this month, which would have been originally the regular first of the month, Smooth Jazz, Smooth Afternoon, got canceled because I got sick. So that broadcast is getting rescheduled for this weekend. Okay, that's the weekend of the 10th and the 11th. We're going to do the makeup of the Smooth Jazz that got canceled. Okay, so I'm making it up this weekend because I got sick. So that broadcast has been rescheduled. But next month I have a family event going on. My grandkids are in a show, so that will be on Saturday, June 1st. So that broadcast, that weekend, I think it's June 2nd, it could have been, I'll have to ask my wife for sure, 7th or 8th, whatever the case, the second week would probably be the 14th and 15th of June. Will make up the jazz. We'll do the jazz on that weekend. So this month and next month, Smooth Jazz will be on the second weekend of the month instead of the first. That'll be the only 2 months that's going to be a change. Okay, now that'll be the only scheduled programming monthly right now. Okay, until I get this schedule in a pattern form for forming a program schedule. Now, I'm going to be trying different schedules too. Some of the schedules that I had originally produced and written, I'm going to be trying these schedules. These are the ones that I did back in January. So I'm going to be trying some of the January schedules too, especially when I get into the 3-hour plan. Because those were originally made for the 3-hour plan, but never got done. So, or never got put into effect. So that schedule will probably be tried. Again, I'll be trying those schedules again. As well as the schedule forming from what I do here. So, Jazz Weekend, always the second weekend of the month. And that can alternate as well. Enter the pattern, it might just alternate a little bit as I go along. So, going down to the adult contemporary big band standards, that's going to be rotation. So will be the bluegrass and the country western, the rock and roll. Now, what we'll do is I'm going to start with a Christian rock. Then I'm going to pop down to the bottom because we have overdue Good Times, Great Oldies show. I promised a Rockin' 80s back in April. Back in April, it never went on the air. My Rockin' 80s didn't air in April, so we're going to have it in May. Okay, so we're going to start that way. So I'm going to do top, bottom of the music genre. So we're going to start with the Christian rock, okay, and then we're going to shift down to the bottom for the Good Times Great Oldies show. I'll do an oldie show, an 80s show, in this month coming up. Okay, so that's gonna shuffle. Then we're gonna go back up, and we're going to pop in the next one, which is my middle of the road format, which is then we'll have our middle of the road going, and our jazz going. So we'll have maybe an extra jazz broadcast. Since we had to cancel, so I'll have an extra jazz broadcast in there, and it'll meet in the middle with the adult standards. So I'm going to have the premiere of Music and Memories, and then we'll start all over again. And it'll go back up to the Christian rock, and we'll have rock worship, which is on that list underneath Twin Spin Tuesday. Twin Spin Tuesday, Garces again is alternating with Gary J in the morning on Tuesdays. So that's going to work out real good. And then the classic country and the bluegrass jubilee work together. Pretty much. I have those two shows together anyway on a Saturday. And that could be alternating Saturdays with our sports page show, which falls under our talk format. That's the sports page. So we're going to have alternating with sports page. And then these other shows, Gary Russin program, I plan on another show next week. I've got one planned for the afternoon, 3 to 6 p.m. I don't know what either one of my stations, either this one that you're listening to on locally on our 9-foot signal, that's Spreaker FM 88.9, or it could be my other talk station, which is Talk FM 108 over on 107.9. It's KGRZ, and either or of those. I haven't had it on KGRZ in a while, so I'll probably be doing that. So next week, a Gary Russin program. I don't know what day yet. I haven't really picked a day to do that, but it'll probably be any of the times I'm available, either Monday or Tuesday, and or Friday. It's a Freestyle Friday show. So all those days that I'm free will be the days that I'm on the air. Okay, all the days that are free. Now, so far I've been free on Monday, Tuesday, part of Wednesday. Wednesday mornings I could be on the air. Wednesday mornings. That could be another Gary J in the morning, or it could be or something else. It'd probably be a rebroadcast. Wednesday mornings I had slated under the old schedule. As I remember straight, Wednesday morning was going to be a rebroadcast of a Blues House and our Best of Jazz. So more than likely that's something I thought about doing on Wednesday mornings. So I only stay on till maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because that's usually the day we do Bible study. Now, under that rule, I do have a Gary Russin program on a Wednesday. That's only if we don't go to Bible study, or Bible study is canceled for any reason and I'm opened. I will do a broadcast on that day. I will have a show on in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, probably a Gary Russin program, more than likely. And it would be my regular talk show, middle of the week edition, semi-freestyle. It would probably be like that. And it would be basically a mixture of talk, music, variety, and open phones kind of deal. So that's probably what it would be about, mostly. So that's something to consider. And then Thursdays, kind of not really. It depends on the situation. Thursday, help at the church on Thursdays. We have the last 7 days, and then there till like maybe 12:30. Now, at best, I could probably do an afternoon of music there. Gary J in the afternoon is usually one of the Thursday programs we have on. And it's just freestyle, pick and play, open request, various things like that. Just roughly follow the rotation and picking out new songs and playing emerging artists and brand new releases that I have found. So basically that's that Thursday show. So it's semi-freestyle kind of. And of course, like I said, Fridays are usually the Gary Russell Program Freestyle Edition or a music show. Either one. Saturdays alternating with Bluegrass Jubilee, Gary J Sports Page, Gary Russell Program Saturday Extra, and the Blues House, among others, on Saturdays, and or whatever pops up in the rotation cycle, the way I'm going to do it. Top to bottom, bottom to top. And then we're going to see how that all forms into our program schedule. And see how it's all going to come out. Because however it comes out is how I'm going to form a radio schedule in the fall. Because if it works out the way I think it's going to work out, the way it's going to start forming like it's already doing now, it's going to be a pretty good schedule come fall. Because then I can do a lot more different things there. And then I'll see what shows won't fit the schedule. Now, what shows don't fit the schedule become what I call spontaneous. So we keep that spontaneous going no matter what. We're permanent spontaneous, but I do have some schedule. I have to have some schedule to get some audience. That's the whole idea behind that. To have people listening to the radio station. And if they know when their favorite program is on, whether it be my Bluegrass Jubilee, America, that a lot of people asking me when I do my Bluegrass show, a lot of people asking me when I do my Blues show, some people asking me when I do my Jazz program. So it's hard to really answer that because I don't have a really good schedule. And until I get a really good schedule down, I'll be able to answer that saying, listen, blah, 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 Sunday afternoon, or listen Saturday night, or listen Saturday afternoon, whatever we have a program on. And I thought, we'll try different time slots, different days. And now that I added SoundCloud, now when I added SoundCloud to get more audience, I'm hoping that maybe perhaps we'll get something there. When I do my video version of the Gary Russell program, I got that on the stack. That's going to be spontaneous for now. I don't know when I'm going to do that program. I will be promoting it on my GJRB TV YouTube channel. Now, if you're listening to this on the GJRB TV YouTube channel as a podcast pre-recorded, great. Thank you. Subscribe. Please hit that like button. Because, like I said, it's going to help the GJRB Online to know that we have some listeners on that side. But they are very, very picky about their copyright. So I keep those shows on for a while, public. But then when I start seeing some notifications for copyright claims, then I take those programs and put them in private. And if you want to listen to those programs, you either have to get on the GJRB Spreaker public site, on my other places where I have those programs, and or just request that show public for a while. And I'll do that. But like I said before, they've been, YouTube's been pretty picky about copyright. They get all fussy. So I try to look at my copyright claims, and I take all those shows that have copyright claims and turn them private, so that I can keep those programs for future reference, especially if I want to use them for, if I want to use them for voice tracking, I can use those. So I kind of go in there so I can pick voice tracking stuff. But I usually keep all those programs together. And see what happens from that. Because, like I said, I'm getting tired of being the WKRP of Spreaker, because I am like down the hole as far as getting listenership. I get small responses from people who just pass by. And it's to a point where, it's great self-talk therapy. I'm not saying that. Absolutely fabulous. I enjoy doing this. But it's like, come on now. There's got to be more people out there that can find this program and listen to it. And I'm hoping that maybe some responses from the side of my SoundCloud might get some listeners. Because I used to be on SoundCloud before, and I got some pretty good responses. So I'm thinking about maybe trying that again. And again, like I said before, it just takes being on regularly. Having regular programs in regular schedule. Having these programs in a time slot for all of them. And making sure that each program gets the average airing that it deserves. I think that's the whole idea, to get audience. Now again, on top of what I'm doing at church, and on top of the fact that the way I have it rotated will depend also on what happens with WBRFM, because I'm going to be getting a hold of them today and say, yeah, I will be a presenter if you have a time slot for me. And I'll work around that time slot. And that'll be another program that I'll do. Okay? So if I do WBRFM, I'll probably rotate it with the other programs here on Spreaker. So that, and my WBR programs, I'm going to have broadcast here on Spreaker too. So I'm going to ask him if I can simulcast my programs from WBR-FM over on GJRB and be able to have those available too, where I could get some listenership. So either way, I'm hoping maybe I can get some positive. So that's why I'm going to take them up on their offer this time, that I would love to be on WBR-FM and see how that all works. But like I said before, the schedule as I talked about it now will remain intact. And if something does change as far as that's concerned, then more than likely the schedule will change here on Spreaker again. And like I said before, when all programs change on Spreaker, whatever changes are made on Spreaker, I'll have another GJRB Schedule Update podcast to make those changes. So watch for GJRB for Schedule Update podcast. Whenever there's a program change that's very drastic, I have a GJRB Schedule Update podcast. That's what that disclaimer's for when I broadcast this program. The disclaimers mean that whenever there's a program change and there's from program shifts and some shifts in the program schedule, I'll have a new GJRB Schedule Update podcast to talk about it. Okay? So just to let you know about that. So to end it all and recap, like I said before, you saw the video, and I will take this and I will make a video of this with my with this podcast, and I will have this podcast dubbed over onto my EasyVid. And then from my EasyVid, I will upload it onto the GJRB Spreaker public site, the GJRB TV YouTube channel. Okay? Every time I hear that, I hear those kids. I'll have it on the GJRB TV YouTube channel so that you can see the schedule and this podcast that you're listening to right now as a video. And the program will air that way. So I will have that all set up and ready to go. So that's going to put an end to the GJRB Schedule Update podcast. I want to thank you all for listening. And once again, The program schedule is as is, and if there's any changes made and what's happening with WBRFM, I will let you know with future updates on the GJRB Schedule Update podcast here on the GJRB Spreaker public site. That's it for the GJRB Schedule Update podcast. I'm Gary J. Russin. We'll talk to you later. Have yourself your best evening ever, and we'll be talking with you on Friday for smooth jazz and the wave of smooth jazz, and of course smooth afternoon, Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Have yourself your best night. So long, everyone. The following is a GJRB podcast presentation. You hear great jazz on GJRB with the best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, and smooth afternoon. If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming. And programming in other great music formats. Like blues, urban, including rap. Also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, you get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA, listen, and enjoy. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end-time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Imagine one day
tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land. You never know when GJRB is going to be on the air. More programming, more often, on the internet. On GJRB.
This is the GJRB Online Network.